Hey everyone, before we get into today's episode, because Jeff is running a little bit late, apparently, I just thought I'd give a quick thank you to all of our lovely patrons over at patreon.com/Karstcast. We talk about it all the time, and we bring it up because it is a great way to support us, especially if you're a consistent listener of the podcast. If you listen to this at least a few times a month, we highly recommend becoming a patron, because we do this for free, but this is the best way to, I guess, support us. It's not just supporting us, though. You get a ton of cool perks, like exclusive bonus episodes that come out twice every month, Zoom Hangouts that come out once a month, where you guys get to hang out with us and play GeoGuessr. You get shout-outs at the end of every episode, which you're going to get in today's episode if you're a patron. And if you're a $15 patron, you get your questions answered in these public episodes as often as we can. So yeah, head on over to patreon.com/Karstcast if you want to get in on the fun. And one quick other thing, we now have a Karstcast highlights channel. Woo, yeah! Jeff set this up, and he's been clipping bits, and we already have a few up there. I'll link the channel in the description, and I'll be tweeting about it and stuff. You'll know about it by now. But yeah, if you're looking for short form versions of the podcast where we have some of our favorite bits, that is the place to go, the Karstcast Highlights channel. I think that's all that I have to say. Yeah, enjoy the episode. Hello. Welcome to the 103rd episode.
103.
Hey, you guys didn't think we'd make it this far. But Jeff, the Winter Olympic Games were first held in which country?
The Winter Olympics.
The Winter Olympics, when they decided to spice it up.
You know what? I have a one. I'm going to go with this. I'm going to take a leap of faith and say Norway.
It is, it's France, actually. So, solid guess, though. Norway would make sense.
Norway is also a country.
Yeah.
That's cold.
It was definitely one of the options, because it is a country. Yeah.
It needs to be, it needed to be a country that's cold and has mountains, I figure.
Right.
So they have the
solid guess.
Alps.
They have the Alps.
France, right?
I guess, that is true.
Like the Swiss Alps, I guess they have the French Alps.
I feel like for the Summer Olympics, and this isn't entirely true, but I feel like they have a wide array of options to host those in places. I mean, and
especially
winter,
because they do them in what is the summer for the northern hemisphere, because a lot of the land in the southern hemisphere also is not that cold in the winter. Like you could do Australia for the Summer Olympics, and they did Sydney in 2000, I believe.
Yeah. But anyways, we should move on from that conversation. Right now, as we're recording this, the Grammys are happening. I don't think either of us have anything to say about that, but I just thought I should acknowledge it.
Love music.
Music's biggest night.
I'm a big music guy.
Jeff and I, contrary to popular belief, love listening to music. Just as much as we like.
It's actually, a lot of people have been saying on the subreddit that it's weird how we don't listen to music.
But we're big earheads. We love
ears.
We love ears.
Music.
Yeah, we're just so into that ear sounds. Okay. So I had a really well-structured intro, and that just completely... I've been watching Succession. I told you about this before we hopped on. Mm-hmm. Obviously, this will not be the last time I talk about it, because I'm almost done with the first season, so I only imagine it's going to get crazier, but if any other Karstcast heads watch it, let me know.
Yeah, spoil it for them. No, do not do that. I feel bad because someone might think I was serious and might think that's funny. It is not funny to spoil things.
No. Have you ever had anything spoiled for you that really ruined your experience with something?
I think nothing that I cared that much about. There's things where I'm I wish I didn't hear that, but I don't think there's anything. Yeah, because I know some Marvel spoilers. I'm maybe I'll watch those when I'm bored sometime, but I don't care that much.
That's fair. I had the Twin Peaks spoiled for me, the core mystery of the film or the show.
Yeah, there's two peaks.
There's two. Yeah, they're twins. They're twins. They are the same peak.
It's just one peak.
It's just one peak. Yeah, but that kind of sucked, and it was out of nowhere. It was a Q&A for Celine Sciamma, the Portrait of a Lady on Fire filmmaker. I should have just said director. I don't know why I said filmmaker, but she was just talking about something completely unrelated, and then it was like, oh yeah, and then Twin Peaks when, and she just completely ruined the show for me halfway through.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, yeah. But anyways, Jeff, I have a quick question. You tweeted something earlier today, and I assume you're going to get into it.
Okay, well, I definitely can get into it.
It was very confusing.
It was confusing for me because I did not do this.
Yeah.
I was made aware recently that on the official, like, the main Letterboxd page for the upcoming movie Cruella,
yep.
Someone edited the crew list, or in cast list, I guess, mainly cast list, and they just completely, like, put a bunch of fake names for the characters.
Yeah.
And someone said that the actor Mark Strong was playing me in the movie Cruella, and it's been up there because someone told me this like 2 days ago. So it's been up there for over like 72 hours at this point.
Right. Dude, I'm looking at it right now. It's there.
Yeah.
Buddy the Airbud dog. Dude, this is crazy. How did they get away?
So I actually do know how you would do this because I realized that it's incredibly easy to game the system when I got pilots on there because I did that myself.
Yeah.
Since then, someone put my like first film, Jeff's Ghost. Someone put that, so that's on Letterboxd now.
Yep.
Yeah, so I realized it's very easy to do this. So I think Letterboxd might have a reckoning soon where this might get popular, where people just start doing troll things to the movies.
Well, I think at this point, I think I've added one thing to Letterboxd, and I don't remember at this point because people have just added my high school short films like crazy, and now there's 3 separate Karsten Rundquist pages. Like as if there's 3 separate directors named Karsten Rundquist, but I'm like,
that would be crazy if there were.
That would
be like the Karsten Rundquist filmmaking dynasty.
I don't think we did like some ancestry thing. I don't think there's ever been a Karsten Rundquist before.
Yeah, there's never been a Jeffrey Borslow before.
Actually? I guess Borslow is a very unique
It's not a real last name. That's why. It's not real.
Okay.
It used to be Boris Polsky, and then in 1912, they came from Eastern Europe.
Wow. Okay. Interesting.
And then changed it to Borslow. So there's very few. Any Borslow is related to me.
That's so. I don't know if I can say the same about Rundquist, except maybe the
so informative.
The origins
probably not true, but maybe it is.
But maybe it is. Maybe it is. The origins of Rundquist were there was this kid named Quist, and
he loved running.
He was bullied a lot, so they would always be like, "Run, Quist!" Like run, Forrest, run.
No, it's similar to Icelandic last names where they're all like Haridason, and it's just like Harid's son.
Yeah, it's like 2 words, but yeah. What else? You were gonna bring up something too. You texted me about this today. You were like, I have something to say on the podcast.
Okay, the way you're framing it is not necessarily how I intended for this to be phrased. This was completely an aside.
We never tell each other like beforehand what we're going to talk about, and you were like, I got something to say today, and I was like, all right, go ahead.
So what happened was we were going to record this an hour earlier, and then I was like, hey, Karsten, can we do an hour later? Because I forgot that the time was changing.
Yeah.
So the clocks moved an hour forward this morning.
Yeah. Yep.
And here was my issue. I did not watch the movie for this week until today. Mm-hmm. And the way it was going to be timed out was going to be perfect for the sun setting so that I could watch it on my projector.
Oh, okay.
And it was still way too sunny because the time moved forward.
So you had to wait for the sun to go down?
Yeah, because it's in a room that has like some windows that I can't really block.
Yeah. That makes sense.
So that was it was a dumb reason, but that's why we had to delay an hour, was so I could watch it on the big screen.
I guess that is a good segue into, I guess, I was going to say the movie, but the time change today. Much more. Are you tired? Did you get hit by it at all, or? Because I feel really out of it today. I feel like I look visibly tired.
Yeah,
right now.
I mean, I think if anyone had a reason they had to wake up today, which I did not. Luckily, I hate the days that are the time change, because then you just lose an hour of sleep.
Yeah, it's bad.
Now, every day after the time change day, I love it because then the sun sets way later.
That's true.
Except for when you have to watch a movie on a projector, then it's bad.
Yeah, you really got to start.
Purpose, it's great. I feel like it's good for like mental health because it doesn't feel like the days are super short. More sun. Because Florida, I don't get enough sun here.
No, yeah, you famously not a lot of sun in Florida.
It's called the something shine state. I don't know what
the buns shine.
Everybody's
got great, very well moisturized butts.
Yeah, it's.
I was gonna say that that's true though, because in high school I used to do swim team in the middle of the winter, and it's like that meant I get up for school before the sunrise. It was like dark out in the morning, and then I stay in this building for all day, and then I drive to swim practice, and by the time I get out, it's pitch black, and I'm like, no wonder I can't remember if I said this on the podcast before, but it's like, no wonder I was so sad in high school, because it's like I didn't get any sunlight.
Yeah.
Like,
that's how I felt a couple times. So I had to wake up for my high school also very early because it was this like weird computer programming magnet school.
Okay.
Magnet in this sense means like it was just a special program.
I had the
just because for anyone in a different country that's not a term that sounds weird. It sounds like I went to a school where I was like using magnets.
They're like that seems like a one class type, not even a class.
Yeah. It's like, so this is attracted to this.
You went to school, you majored in that. Yeah.
But yeah, so I had to leave at like 5:10 in the morning or something. Or I had to wake up at 5:10. I had to leave before 6. So the sun was still not up.
Right.
But then also when I worked at DePaul, I worked at Cinespace, which was a soundstage. Soundstages famously don't have windows.
Yeah, dark places.
Yeah, so
that's the point.
sometimes, especially because I had an office for part of the time I worked there. And my office had no windows either. So I would go from doing computer stuff in a small office with no windows to then going downstairs to a soundstage with also no windows.
Yeah. That sucks. I feel like that's a lot of film school because I feel like as an editing major, all my rooms had no windows. They were just these dark computer labs, and I just sat in there for like 3 hours all the time. I was like, this fucking sucks. And now I'm doing a podcast.
Now you're in a podcast.
I'm doing a podcast where I can work whenever I want.
Yeah, as long as it's after the sun goes down because I need my projector to have no light.
I couldn't do 7 today, but yeah.
Yeah.
What were you going to say?
Other than that, though, you know what? I was going to say something probably, but I don't remember. And actually talking about sun rises and sets is actually a good segue.
That's a great segue into today's flick.
Today's film has a lot of sunrises and sunsets.
Yep.
Honestly, the most individual sunrise and sunset scenes I've ever seen in a
movie. Yeah. Yep. And that movie is Nomadland. Jesus.
What if you said it like, wow, this is a disaster.
I felt the burp coming on, and then it was like a 5 seconds to get there, so
yeah.
Okay, should I just explain the movie?
Yeah, I think do the Google synopsis.
Yeah, I got the Google synopsis. Today we're talking about Nomadland, the 2020 film directed by Chloe Zhao, also the director of The Rider, I think. Pretty new filmmaker. And the synopsis reads, a woman in her 60s who, after losing everything in the Great Recession, embarks on a journey through the American West, living as a van-dwelling, modern-day nomad. That is one of, in my opinion, our best synopses. Like, that is to the point, nothing crazy, like...
It makes you also want to see the film.
Exactly. It adds a little bit of suspense.
Yeah, it makes you want to see the film without feeling like after you've seen the film, that the synopsis lied to you.
Yeah, totally.
So perfect synopsis.
There's like a lot of, I feel like, pre-talk before we even talk about the movie here, because like we have been both mentioning this movie for like months now since it was like released. Like we've been making jokes that like we should watch Nomadland instead of whatever it is we did watch that week.
And we made some joke that I completely forget the context, where it was
Nomadland, yeah.
I don't remember why we said that.
It must have been like a happy joke because there was no mad in.
Exactly.
But yeah, this is.
I thought you were gonna burp again.
Nope, I held that one in. I was like not more than once on the pod.
Yep.
Never mind. Let's move on. This is.
Wow, that's an enigma.
Yeah.
No one will ever know.
No one's ever gonna know what I just thought of. Okay, yeah. I chose this one because, well, just like the Grammys are happening currently, the Oscar nominations are being announced tomorrow morning that I will be attending. I will be there at 7 a.m. reacting to them for a video.
Okay.
I won't actually be there.
Right.
Where they're being
like a quarter second, I was like, wait, what?
I dropped that new. You're like, where are you? Like, you had to
like,
go
if you didn't know,
there.
Long Toast was nominated for Best Short Film.
Yeah. Dude, crossing the fingers, going for that animation nomination.
It was like, you know, that one year they served everyone like hamburgers and no one wanted to eat them?
Yeah.
They would be serving Long Toast to all the people in attendance.
Yeah. Like,
it's just across the entire row. It's just one long toast, and they just lay it across everyone's lap.
You have to cut your own part. Yeah. It's like the Grinch, but a big piece of toast. Yeah. Okay. But I bring that up because I feel like this is, and I guess we'll briefly get into it. We don't usually do a ton of award talk on this pod. I save a lot of that for my channel and live streams, but this is like got a pretty big chance of getting Best Picture. It's pretty much acclaimed across the board. Like a lot of people really love it. I will get into my thoughts on that in a second if it has a chance, but it is a very good movie. And I'm curious to know what you think, Jeff. It was my Yeah. I was just going to say it was my I should have started with this. It was my second favorite of last year for anyone that watched the list. I'm gonna be honest. I did not watch the list. Jeff did not watch the list. Wait? Guess what my number one is. I feel like you would know, but maybe not. We did talk about it on the podcast.
What your number one?
My
is?
number one.
Oh no, I'm on the spot now, and I'm completely blanking on. I know this is like,
you know what?
Probably
I don't know
super
why.
Obvious.
No, it's really not. There was not a lot of. I didn't talk about it that much, but it was Kajillionaire. See, that was my favorite. But this was number 2 because I really liked this movie. I will admit, and this actually, you know what? I'm not even gonna acknowledge it. What did you think about this movie, Jeff?
Oh no, I loved it.
Okay, cool. That's not that surprising, but that's awesome. I'm excited to get into it. I mean, what was your experience like watching this? Like, how did you feel immediately after finishing it? Because
I did start it as the sun was going down.
Yeah, so
no, but I think that I definitely probably had I had a fairly personal connection to parts of this film, just because I also have spent some time living kind of transiently.
Yeah.
So the feeling in this film, I know this is kind of getting into the weeds a little bit early.
No.
But the feeling of having these friends that you spend tons of time with for a very short period of time and then leave and maybe never see again. I'm definitely familiar with that.
Yeah.
You know, because I've had like times where I would be on a mountain in Poland and there would be this guy from India who was studying physics in Germany who we were taking long exposure photography like on the top of this like Polish mountain at night. It was just like hanging out, you know, and then I have never seen him again.
Yeah. You have no idea where he is. It's like
exactly. Well, I follow him on Instagram, so I do.
That's great.
Have a vague idea. But it's just that kind of friendship where you become very close friends for like 2 days.
Yeah.
And then that you could like that feeling was captured very well in this film.
That's the thing. I was honestly really curious to hear your take on the film just because of that. I'm like, Jeff has traveled, and I feel like knows a little bit about like what it feels like to be out there. And a lot of this like just like went over my head because I was like, this is just a specific like type of person that admittedly I was just like so unfamiliar with. Like, I'm not familiar with this side of America or like these kinds of people. And which is why I was just like, it was interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. And I definitely would not say I am.
You're not a nomad.
The exact type of person in this film.
No.
But I think that I relate to a lot of the same motivations they have.
Yeah.
And not so much the kind of grief element, but kind of that, like, freedom of movement. Because I'm actually in the process of my parents are actually moving in a couple months.
Oh.
So this is like my childhood home, and I have to get rid of like 80% of my stuff.
That's why you've been doing those Coke videos. You've just been trying to get rid of items.
You say that, but I actually did do that deliberately to get rid of them, because I'm like, I'm either going to throw this out or do something with it now. I'm not going to keep this.
No, that makes sense.
So I've been kind of going through a bunch of stuff, and I'm like, I don't know. I love living without as much stuff. I like the idea of it, but it's hard to get rid of it. But once you do, I think you feel a lot better.
Yeah.
So I'm currently in the stage of getting rid of the stuff.
I was gonna ask how connected you get to or how attached you get to possessions that you have, because I feel like you travel very lightly, and I guess just the way you described that, I'm like, I feel like that's very different from how I look at stuff.
Okay, so I will say that when I was younger, I would become incredibly attached to possessions, like overtly so.
Yeah.
To the point where it was like definitely a detrimental personality trait.
Like a hoarder type of situation?
Not a hoarder, but I mean, I just would become, if like I had something and then it broke, I would be like too sad when I was like a child.
Yeah.
So I think that I've definitely grown out of that phase, but I still harbor like some of this things that I have from back then. Yeah. Like the new stuff I don't get as attached to. But things that are older from back then, I need to find a way to get rid of them. And then I know that once I do and make that decision, it would be kind of like the ripping off a Band-Aid effect, where I will feel much better.
Yeah.
So I actually am kind of looking forward to getting rid of all this stuff and only having, a few storage bins worth of things.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I definitely when I travel, I pretty much, I'm into there's this whole community on Reddit that I'm not a part of. I know it probably sounds like I would be, but it's called r/onebag.
Okay.
I think it's one bag, but
it's pretty. Yeah, I see it. I think I know where this is going.
Yeah, it's people who live out of one bag.
Yeah,
when they travel.
I mean, or wait, are you saying just when they travel, or just all together in life?
It's so I think there's some
pretty impossible.
This. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some people who just travel indefinitely, but this is mainly people for when they travel. But that includes what I did, which was 3 months of travel, but still living out of one bag.
Yeah.
Which for me is by far my favorite way to travel, and it is similar to this film, where they all were living in these either mobile homes or vans that were kind of customized.
Yeah. Sorry, we were getting away from the film for a second.
I know, that's why I was trying to bring it back. I know we were kind of going out there.
I would just like to say, I admire and actually this kind of ties into the film. I admire the idea of traveling with just one bag, but I think that adds a different layer of fear, because I'm like, if something horrible happened, if someone stole that one bag, or whatever it is, it's then I have nothing. I guess that's not entirely
it's much
true.
Easier to travel with, it's much easier to keep track of stuff when you only have one bag. It's just a backpack, so it's on me the whole time while I'm moving.
Yeah.
And the alternate to one bag would be 2 bags, and they could just as easily be stolen.
That is true. Yeah.
But yeah, it's probably a bag that weighs under 30 pounds is like my main requirement, so that you can actually walk for more than a couple hours without it murdering your back.
Yeah. Yeah. I was going to say, because I feel like the back that comes into play, it's just, there's a lot of...
I mean, the point isn't that you're like, I stay in a place for a few days. I don't usually every day move with it, so it's not too bad. And then you go on like buses and...
For sure.
But anyways, back to the movie. Nomadland.
I brought that all up at the beginning because I think this movie, in like a weirdly like indirect way, kind of goes about addressing that, like how we look at possessions and stuff.
Yeah,
I think like
I completely agree.
Yeah, because it's just like one of my favorite parts about it is I think Fern's relationship with her van or RV or whatever. It's a van, and it's just like what that means for someone like this as opposed to just like us, like one of us, I guess. It's just like I don't know where to begin with that, but it's so interesting.
Okay, so I think I agree. I think that I have the same feeling. And this is going to sound like I'm just bringing it back to myself again.
No.
But this is relating my experience, to the film. That I get fairly attached when I was traveling for such a long time to the actual small amount of items I did bring, and also my backpack. Yeah. Because I was living out of that backpack for months.
Yeah.
So it kind of becomes like an extension of yourself. And so I know that feeling, and I can totally see how living in a van, it would be even more so because you're inside of that van. That's also your actual physical home.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's like, it seems like a very interesting way to live. And I think that this film, the feeling you get, I don't know, it felt correct. I almost brought that home and I couldn't quite do it.
Accurate, I guess. Maybe.
Yeah, accurate. There we go.
Accurate.
There we go.
Yeah. God, it's like, okay, here's what keeps happening. It's like you start talking and you're bringing up all these points and I'm like, okay, that's what I'm going to say. And then it's my time to talk. And then I'm like, but yeah. So now I'm just trying to remember what I was going to say.
Yeah, it's such a strange film for us to talk about because again, I don't live this type of lifestyle, but I have done many of the things that are at least tangentially related.
Yeah. Well, that's that's what I think is like so special and noteworthy about it, is just how relatable and universal so much of what happens in this film is. Because like I'm sure like it was like, it's not everyone like lives this lifestyle, obviously, but it just, the way I think she's telling the story, she's able to strip down a lot of it to like the core of like how these people function. And when you get there, you sort of see this
it
relatability.
Feels like we are.
Yeah. It's like it's not far at all from what I think everyone else is feeling, which I think is so beautiful. The way she's able to like not look down at these subjects the way I feel like so much media does. Like I feel like that's the end of that thought. But
yeah,
I just think it's very empathetic.
I agree with that. I think that, and I know, I gotta be honest, I've never seen John Waters films.
Okay,
but
not what I thought you were gonna bring up.
No, but that is I should watch those. But that is the like what people always say to me about those films is that it's these characters that are not generally, given space to be the protagonist in film.
Yeah.
And they're treated with the same level of respect that, Brad Pitt is given.
Yeah. That's very true.
I know it was weird for me to bring up.
I was trying really hard to connect the dots.
I know. I know
hoping, where you're at.
Pretty much, I was hoping that you had seen those films.
I have. Yeah.
Okay, so does that sound accurate?
We're talking about John Waters, right?
Yes.
Yeah. His films are just like, I agree that the lens that he views his movies from, it's like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. His are just a lot weirder, and as he would describe it, like they're a lot trashier. than they're just like trashy movies. But like it's the way he does it that makes it work. But I see what you're saying. Like
I know I stepped out on a ledge there. I say I'm going to compare this film to movies that I only have heard things about.
Yeah.
And then I figured, and then I was pretty much going.
You were there.
To
you made it.
Confirmation.
you made it. Yeah. It is really hard to talk about this movie, which is why I was like honestly like fearing this episode, but I was also like, I'll come in. I feel like with more time, and I actually mentioned this in my letterbox. I'm like, I feel like the longer I've sat with the movie, the more I'm able to, I think, understand and put into words, because I left it just feeling so airy and like I had like I understood Fern obviously, and I was like, that was an amazing movie, but I'm just like, I feel out of it.
Yeah. I think that slice of life type films are harder for me to articulate.
Yeah.
Because they're not as much about the plot. So, which is why the synopsis of this film is just like, yeah, this is vaguely what happens.
Yeah.
Because there's not really these. I mean, there are and there aren't, but obviously, you know, in traditional, like a Marvel movie, there's like an inciting incident and these very specific plot points that hit way harder than the plot points of this film in terms of like on an individual level, because they're like bookends for different sections of the film.
Yeah.
So this film flows, you know, so well, and there's like these different punctuated moments, but I don't know. It is hard. I know what you mean.
I think the plot of the movie, and I think the plot is, if we're going to try, I'm not saying that like we're going to try and explain it, but I think a lot of this has to do with the fact that Fern is becoming a bit more aware of her life in this, because it's not like she's brand new to this lifestyle. It's just that like in this moment that this story is telling, it's like, I feel like there's a lot of reflection and awareness going on. And I feel like it's just a movie of her trying to figure that out. And it's amazing that it works, I guess, is what I'm saying. Like, I can't believe it works this well. And sorry if I was cutting out there. I just saw you were buffering, so I was like, maybe I'm buffering.
Oh, no, you sounded great. You
Awesome.
sounded like,
right,
you
cool.
sounded cool, like articulate.
You
sounded handsome, honestly. I don't know how that's possible, but you managed it.
What did you think of let's talk about those sunsets. I think those are really, I like the cinematography is beautiful in the movie.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
Just in terms of like a nature point of view, it's so pretty just to watch this film.
That's so true. It's like, I feel like the landscapes going on here are nothing new. It's like, I feel like it's become kind of a meme. Not really, actually, but I just like know I've seen like some tweets making fun of like sunset photos on Instagram. Like, it's hard to make a sunset look original or great anymore, because it's like you see a sunset, it looks beautiful, and everyone takes a photo of it. But it's like there's something that this movie's doing that makes it look so much better than every other movie with a sunset in it. Because
it might be
gorgeous.
the camera technology has evolved to give us enough dynamic range. I don't know.
Probably,
I don't know. It's something.
Yeah, no, Jeff's got the tech. The tech talk.
Yeah, we need that 18 stops of dynamic range just to get the full spectrum.
The full range of light.
Full spectrum of the sunset.
Yep.
It's a very beautiful film.
Yeah. That and the score, which is just like
okay, that's what I was gonna get to. The score is so good.
Yeah.
I could just watch the whole film of driving with like the wide shots of driving in the mountains.
Yeah.
I could just watch that with the score playing, and that could be the whole movie, and I'd still be like, yeah, that's easy 4 stars.
Yeah. That is the thing. Everything, I think that's why it works so well, is that every part of it is like overlapping at each other very seamlessly. Yeah. Whereas I feel like a lot of these, I think there's this movie, this is a shot in the dark here, but there's this movie called Wild starring Reese Witherspoon from a few years ago. I really liked it. It's about her going on a hike or something. It's been a while since I've watched it. But it felt very similar to this in that it's just a kind of like immerse yourself in the nature movie in like the West Coast. And that one
actually, yeah, okay, you keep going.
I was just gonna say, like, it there's something about it that separates the viewer from being there with them, and it's the fact that, like, the cinematography tries to be like an action film sometimes. The soundtrack feels very distant from what's actually going on, and Nomadland feels so authentic in every stage. Like, every part of this movie is working together to be on the same page, and I think that's rare for any movie, but also just so cool to see for a movie like this.
Yeah. Now, it's because again, we do this for some reason. We just give other movies that give us similar vibes. That's just that's our style. You just did it with that one. But I had one that I don't know if you've seen this, but it was the 2013 Robert Redford movie, All Is Lost.
I have not. No,
you've not seen it. It's pretty much just Robert Redford on a boat, and then he's by himself the whole time, and he doesn't talk. And his boat, like, is sinking, and he has to try to, still make it. Yeah.
That's pretty similar. Right.
But yeah, it's just like a lot of these frames where it's this very personal space. So in Robert Redford's the boat, and then in this it's a van, and it's just one person there doing their thing.
Yeah.
Living their life.
Thing. Yeah. That's very true. I want to bring this up. I just remembered it. Our buddy who's been on the podcast, Nicholas Emmanuel, he was in, and I don't know if you've heard of this app, Jeff. It's called Clubhouse. It's this app where you can just join into random, like, chat rooms and public voice calls.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah. So Nick has been on this train. He's just been having fun with it, and there was a room with Chloe Zhao in it, and she was just talking about Nomadland. And apparently, like, a year ago today, a little bit earlier than that, we're pretty well into the year, but like in 2020, like somewhere in January, she was like editing this movie, and they were just like not going to do. They almost like threw the movie out, reportedly, like apparently, like they just weren't finding anything with the edit. And I think in quarantine, someone convinced her to like pick it back up, and she like edited the whole thing in the span of like a few months and finished it, and now it's here. And I just think that's very interesting that it was kind of like it seems like a kind of homemade situation. Like, she did not go into the edit with much of I mean, she probably did, but like just to know that this thing was put together very quickly in post is cool. And you kind of get that. It's very natural the way it moves and all that. But I'm just like, that's interesting. That is interesting. That is a year ago.
This is the kind of behind the scenes info that you only get from the Karstcast, talking to someone who's been on the Karstcast who was in a chat room with the director.
Let's hope this is true. I could.
Yeah, I mean, Nick could have lied to us, and then we just told 5,000 people incorrect information.
That could have been like one of those like telephone game situations where it's like it distorts a little bit each time it's told.
Yeah. So what would the initial story be?
Initial story would be, it was just a rough cut into a fine cut, I guess. And mine,
and then it's like,
she threw the whole thing together.
She was having a really rough time, so she threw out the film.
Yeah. She burned the footage. Yeah.
You ever play telephone? Like,
yeah.
'Cause people definitely, like, that game is not. People definitely just said the wrong things on purpose, right?
Yeah, because I feel like it's
the
not
really
that hard.
As adults, that game would be really easy.
You just say it to the people, you know? I guess, like, I can't fully... It depends on what's being said. If it's long enough, I have reading comprehension issues. I probably would mess it up. Because, like, whatever happened at the beginning of the sentence will be completely lost by the end of the sentence. And I'll just be like... And I'll have to make something up.
We should make up, like, the new age version, and it's just, like, with texting.
Yeah.
And no one would ever get it wrong.
No, there's just copy paste.
Like, wow, both teams got it. Both teams were perfect again. Guess we got to go to round 65.
It's just a speed run. Yeah.
You ever do a Wikipedia speedrun?
Dude, I've been meaning to do one for a while.
But
I've never done one. Are you good at them?
I've never done one.
We should do that sometime. Maybe we'll make that like a Patreon exclusive thing. Not to be that guy, but
yeah.
I'm trying to think of a place to put this video. I guess we have a YouTube channel, but I'm like, I wish there was a platform where you could just put videos on it.
You're like, I wish there was a way that someone could see my work.
I have all these video essays, and I'm just like storing them on my YouTube channel for now. But I wish there was a place to like put them for people to watch. Yeah, this is a dumb bit. Pretending we don't know what YouTube is.
It's just YouTube's a file storage site. That's the bit.
It's just U-box, like Dropbox. Okay. What else? Are you in tune with the Oscars at all?
I am not at all. I'll have to watch part of your live stream.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just like, I guess I'll touch on this because I feel like this is one big talking point. Unless, okay, I was gonna end with this. Do you have any big points you want to make about this film before I kind of wrap this up?
I think we got there.
We did get there. We said I said as much as I'd feel comfortable saying about it personally.
Yeah.
And if you haven't seen it, it's on Hulu. But I will say that just like as far as the Oscars go, a lot of people are predicting this wins Best Picture. I've completely changed my mind. I think it will. I have a good chance. I think it, yeah. Because it was between this and The Trial of the Chicago 7, and I don't think people like The Trial of the Chicago 7 enough for it to win. So I think this is pretty out there because it's pretty slow and not a Best Picture movie from what they usually deem as that. But
so you think that those are the two most likely winners?
Yep. I literally don't think any other movie stands a chance. Well, besides maybe like One Night in Miami, that has a small chance, but these two are kind of the heavy. Why do you have another one? You
I was
think?
Just curious.
Okay.
I have no idea. I don't even know who votes on the Oscars.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about the Oscars.
Well, I'm like so out of the loop this year. I have no idea what's going to. It felt like last year there were like 3 or 4 possible chances, but this year I'm like it literally is either going to be this or Trial of the Chicago 7. And I kept saying, this was my argument, and I'm going to talk about this more later on, but that like this situation is similar to the Roma versus Green Book situation in 2018. And I don't think Roma won because it was a foreign film and it was in black and white, and it was just not as, I guess, accessible for wider audiences. And I think this is also slow and kind of in the same category as Roma, but I think it's still... Oh, I kicked a cord and my camera went up. I think it's still got a pretty good chance. I don't know. I think a lot of people will get something out of this, whereas I know a lot of people were not into Roma. But anyways, that's my Oscar
At least
analysis.
Green Book won't win this year, right?
Yeah. Well, you never know. You know what I mean?
They bring Warren Beatty back, and he's like, winner of Best Picture, Green Book.
They're like, this is not even the right year, Warren.
It turns out that it was just like in a green envelope. So that's why he thought it was Green Book.
He's like, you can understand the mix-up here, right? And they're like, no. He's like, come on. I mean, it's green. An envelope is a book.
Yeah. Or what if he's like, Best Picture winner, Ishtar. Because he was in Ishtar. That was
he was in Ishtar, yeah. There's like one person in the crowd that's like,
he was actually a pretty good singer. Just saying. They sung all their own.
Oh, he had a great
They did all their own
performance.
stunts.
Yeah.
They're singing as a stunt.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say, you know what, he probably didn't do all his own. Maybe he did do his own stunts. I don't really know.
Yeah.
But he did all his own
probably
singing.
Fact check that. Yeah. Okay. What do you think of her score here for Nomadland?
You know what? Early, this is early for me because I feel like this is a film you need to watch twice. I'm gonna go 5.
Whoa. Hey, you know what? I respect that. Yeah. This is a really good movie. I initially gave it a 4.5, and I think I have not gotten the chance to rewatch it yet. Simply did not. I've seen it. I knew enough to go into the podcast. But I do think if I rewatch it, it's going to go up to a 5 because I do think it's really good. And yeah. I you know what? I might go 5 for this too. So
5.
Yeah. What is the time of day rating? Sunset, right? I mean,
it has to be sunset.
It's gotta be the sunset.
Or sunrise. Although sunrise would be a really weird time to watch a movie. So I feel like sunset.
All right. That is true. I wonder if anyone's ever watched a movie at sunrise, because I feel like you could get away with like a 4 a.m. like really late at night, but like sunrise.
Yeah, but like waking up to then see a movie first thing. Mm-hmm. Have you ever done that? Have you ever woken up to see a movie like first thing?
Yep, at TIFF and Sundance. I saw Jojo Rabbit at like 7:30 a.m., which was...
That's a weird movie to see at that time.
Yep, packed
You're like,
theater.
All right, sun's up, time to see some Holocaust.
Some JoJo, yeah. I actually saw that one. I met Art and Arturo from Let Me Explain. We had breakfast sandwiches together while we watched that one at 7:30. Good memory. Hopefully I can see him again in person one day.
Dude, what do they say in this movie in Nomadland? They're like, just
it's not goodbye.
It's or something?
Yeah, it's not a goodbye. It's a see you down the road or something like that. That's what it was like saying goodbye to Arturo at TIFF.
If you started doing that in your everyday life, people would think you're so weird. Imagine every time someone ever left you, like your apartment, you were like, it's not goodbye, it's see you down the road.
Dude, I say that to all my family members. They're like, okay, bye. I'm like, see you down the road.
You're like, no, I just said it's not goodbye.
It's not goodbye, yeah.
It's
I'll
see you down the road.
They're like,
Mom.
You're driving away from us. You're not. That road is a highway.
Life is a highway.
Life is a highway, and I want to
ride it all night long.
All right, questions. These come from
I'll see you down the road when you're going my way.
Yep. This is the Q&A. These come from the Karstcast subreddit.
Back here, we're on to the Q&A, the Karstcast subreddit. Here at Karstcast HQ, we love questions.
Yep. This one comes from El Momento de Bruh, and it is thoughts on sweet potatoes. I genuinely loathe them. So
I'm going to tell you something, El Momento. You're wrong. You're dead wrong. Sweet potatoes, if they are baked, which is, of course, how you're supposed to eat a sweet potato fries, not that good. But baked sweet potato is the superior potato. But get some cinnamon butter on that. There you go.
Here's the thing, man. I'm with El Momento here because I just don't, and I haven't actually had what you just described. I bet it's delicious, but
that's the only way to eat a sweet potato. How are you? Are you just like picking them out of the ground and just chopping on a sweet potato?
No, we have the fries, and I think I have had like sweet potato pieces baked, obviously, but I'm just like what I go into a potato wanting is, I think, salty, like something in that category, and instead you get something sweet, and I'm just like, it's confusing me.
Now, at Thanksgiving, my favorite Thanksgiving dish is sweet potato casserole. Now, what this actually is, it's more of a dessert than a side dish, if I'm honest, because you cook sweet potatoes and then you mix pineapple into it, so you get a really nice crunch.
Christ.
Makes it even sweeter.
That's
and then
so
you bake marshmallows on top.
Oh my, yeah, okay, you've explained this before. I did not need to hear it again.
Yeah.
That's
vile. You have to trust me, it's good.
Okay.
Everyone always says that it sounds terrible, but you have to trust me.
Florida ass shit. I can't talk. Yeah.
You're the one who eats hot plates or whatever they're called.
Hot dishes?
Hot
dishes are great. They're hot.
Okay, here's the thing. Your sweater you're wearing is literally the color of a sweet potato.
I was waiting for you to say that.
It literally could not be more...
Is it going to go there?
Oh, I was going to point that out.
All right, well, that's our divisive. That's one of our most divided opinions, to be honest.
Yeah.
Sweet potatoes. I fucking hate them. Jeff really loves them.
Now, but you have conceded that you have not tried a sweet potato in either of the ways that I'm recommending.
Yeah, no. So, I guess I have to try them. I'm open to trying them again, but
yeah, I will say just real quick. Sorry, the sweet potato casserole that I've talked about is more of an advanced sweet potato dish. I probably would go for the normal baked with cinnamon butter first.
Novelty. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
The cinnamon sugar sounds good.
Oh, that's great.
This next one comes from a $15 patron. Hey, buddy, thanks for calling. Ed can't come to the phone right now. Please leave a message after the tone. Thanks. And it is, this is actually kind of a tough one to answer. I will give you a second to think of one. But it's, what's your favorite example of queer subtext in a film a la Point Break? I asked this question in the other question forum, but I think that's the wrong place to ask or something. I don't know. This is a tough one to answer because I can't, off the top of my head.
You read the entire tale of that was not part of the question.
Yeah, I kept going, and then halfway through that last tale, I was like, all right, we'll just finish it out. Just stick this one through.
Okay.
I feel like and I could be wrong, I don't want to make assumptions. I feel like I pay more attention to this stuff when I'm watching a movie because I just think that it's fun. And I can't think of a lot of examples is the thing. I would have to see a list and then pick my favorite out of that list. But you did ask this at a convenient time because I'm going to say Succession. It's pretty light so far, but I feel like there's definitely some subtext with Kendall Roy, the main character of Succession. And whatever his name is, he's got like a business partner. And there's just been a few moments where they're using some language, and I'm like, this feels like it's insinuating something. But I assume it gets a little bit spicier down the road. I just have heard from people before I even started the show that is a thing, and I can pick up on it so far, even though I couldn't at first. But I think that is a great example of a show or film doing it pretty well. Now, Jeff, I assume you're looking at a list here.
What if I was like, actually, no.
I was just texting. You were just...
Yeah, I was just like, I was ignoring you.
You were like, I was scrolling Twitter. I'm like, okay, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, this is a tough one.
It's a tough question.
Yeah. I don't know if I can do it.
You can pass on it. It's a tough one. I think I just asked it because that was up there.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm glad that you had a really good answer.
I had a pretty solid one
Now I'm gonna say that if the asker of this question wants me to answer it, just DM me and then I'll think of an answer.
You'll think of one, yeah.
You know, that's the kind of service you get as a $15 patron.
Exactly.
Personal answers.
Yep.
It's a good question though.
It is a good question. I kind of want to pay more attention when I watch things because I feel like it shows, especially in like older movies when it was. Like you can't really show that, you know. I just know there was this one class. There were like a test from the 50s that had a lot of queer subtext in like noir movies, and they were like, yeah, it's because this is their only way of doing that in the movies, and it's very subtly. But I'm like, that's interesting. But anyways, this next one is kind of a tough one. We'll see. It's not in the same way that the other one was. It's a personal one. It comes from quizzical _ questioner, and it is, when was the last time you cried? How often do you cry, and why? I was like, we can answer this. We don't have to, but I was just like, this is an interesting question.
It's an interesting podcast question. I'm just imagining this being at the end of other podcasts.
Yeah.
I don't cry that often.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of one. Do you remember for you?
Yeah, I will not get into why. I cried a few days ago, and it felt great. It was, I definitely, I'll answer the how often you cry before I get into the specific reasons. But I'm like, I think I've recently, I cry maybe like once or twice I'll say like once a month, maybe.
Yeah.
I feel like it's also hard for me. I guess that's more than I guess a lot of people, weirdly enough, but I look at it as like kind of healthy. Like I'm not upset when I cry. I'm like this feels good. It feels really good afterwards. Yeah. It's like a much healthier way of vomiting. Like you feel good afterwards, even though it's really intense in the moment. Yeah.
I will say that I completely agree with that logic. I mean, just from a biological level, crying is proven to make you feel better after you do it.
Yeah.
So whenever I'm like close to crying, I try to actually then make it happen. But I think that, I don't know, I think culturally I caught the, kind of the big 90s. I feel like in the 90s, obviously much more than today, but that's when my like formative years were the late 90s and early 2000s. And that was a time when it was not culturally really that acceptable to cry. So I think that I was kind of like trained to not cry.
Yeah.
And I think now I have to kind of try to fight that if I ever think that I should. So I think that's kind of definitely a bad thing. I think crying is healthy, which is why it's one of the things our bodies do.
Yeah.
It serves a purpose, just like every other bodily function. So I think it's kind of something I probably should work on, is being able to cry more. But I think the last time I cried was the middle of 2019.
Gotcha. Yeah. It's hard. Like it's not only like, I feel like it's easy for people to like get over the mental barrier and like tell themselves that it's okay, because some people can't even do that, where they're like, fuck no, I'm not gonna cry. But physically it's like hard to get to that point. I feel like it like gets lumped in your throat a lot. But yeah. I remember like just in high school, I don't think I cried all from like 6th grade to like my senior year because of like similar reasons. I'm like, it was just like weird, and I didn't want to like be that guy. And then I think college, whatever happened, I'm just like very open about it. Not in front of other people, but I'm just like, I feel more comfortable crying in front of myself.
Like with yourself?
Yeah.
Which I think is the most important thing. I don't think you necessarily, I mean, it's totally fine if you do, tell other people that you cry.
Yeah.
But I think that's far less important than being, I think it's far less important to do that than it is to be okay with it yourself.
Yeah, totally. Well, yeah, that was our, we answered that question. This last one is not a question, but they say it. I'm just going to read it. It comes from $15 patron Jacob Colness, and it reads, "This isn't a question. This $15 donation is actually for Jeff's nose job fund. # save Jeff's nose."
Wow.
I don't know why.
Wow.
I picked it because it's a $15 patron. We had to say
it.
We
had to. We had
honestly,
to say it.
It's nice. And Jacob Colness, famously very supportive. Thank you, Jacob.
Yeah, thank you, Jacob.
And,
I'm gonna get that done. It's probably gonna be done in about a month.
Whoa, that's exciting. So, yeah.
I mean, it's not exciting.
It is exciting. It is exciting.
I mean, sure. We'll see. I mean, it's going to be kind of funny definitely for like at least, a week or two. I'm going to have like a giant thing on my nose when we do the podcast.
Yeah. Will you be like nasally? Will you be like
talking like,
I have no idea.
Talking like this?
I guess we'll see. That'd be kind of funny.
Yeah.
We'll make sure we have to talk about like a funny film. Imagine if we're talking about like a serious film and I'm like,
Yeah, this film was actually very sad. I didn't like the part when she died.
I'm like, yeah, no, talk about that some more. I make you talk the whole episode. Yeah, I remember the early days. I think it was our second episode. You had like a terrible like cold or something, and your voice was not the way it usually
I remember
is.
that.
I was like, this is a weird way to start the podcast.
I've had a few that were like that. I had one where I just was like very sick, so I could barely talk. Like I had no voice. Yeah, I think that was with Nahal, because the second episode I wasn't in because I was so sick.
Yeah.
And then the remnant from that was with Nahal.
With Nahal. And we had Nahal talk. I would love to get him back on. But
yeah, let's get Nahal. I want to talk to Nahal. I haven't seen Nahal since like I saw him in person like right before the pandemic, like maybe February of last year.
Damn.
Or March, like early March, one of the two.
Dude.
Just by like happenstance, I was at Brandon's place and then he stopped by to grab something.
That's so awesome. I feel like it's such a rarity to see that boy.
To see Nahal in the flesh.
He's so busy, yeah. All right. Well, we'll get into. Thanks for the questions, everybody. We'll get into wrap up. We'll start with
especially thank you to $15 patrons for the questions.
Of course, and statements. Of course. Thank you for the statements and well wishes. This one, we like to read reviews to encourage you guys to leave reviews. We will. Trust me, if you left one, it's probably going to get read. We just have a lot of them to go through at the moment because we asked for them a while ago and people responded. And thank you. But this one, this week comes from...
delivered.
You guys delivered. This one comes from Angry Birds Man 123. The subject line is "Good podcast for good people," 5 stars, and it reads, "Jeff and Karsten are very fun and cool people. They would be more fun and more cool if they covered After Hours, directed by Martin Scorsese, on the podcast. See ya."
I wonder if at some point we're gonna need to have a gigantic like episode where we only spend like 5 minutes per movie, but just try to cover all these movies. Because the problem is we get so many requests to the point where we would never be picking our own films if we did all the ones that were requested to us. Like we literally couldn't get through them all because we get more than one request a week. So we've done some that people have requested.
I mean we had guns to our heads for Diary of a Wimpy Kid. We could not.
We had to do that.
We had to do it or else we don't know what would have happened.
But thank you. Yeah, but so you never know. We might get to that at some point. Thank you for the review. We do it for the fans.
Yeah, of course.
I know. I realized I had nothing.
Right.
Like I had no good way to end.
Something like that, though.
I had an inflection, like I was gonna keep talking, and then I had nothing.
Yeah.
So I just said something.
But we do it for the fans. This next one. Well, there's not this next one, but this the next part is we like to announce the next movie for next week, and next week we're talking about The Trial of the Chicago
7.
Yep. And
I realized as I was doing that, it's not going to be synced on your side.
it was off, but I was like, we'll get there. We'll end up at the same spot.
7.
So yeah.
An echo.
This.
The trial.
We're in a cave and your nose is broken. How did we end up here? Okay, and lastly, we'd like to thank our lovely patrons. If you'd like to become a patron, head on over to patreon.com/Karstcast, where you can get exclusive access to bonus episodes, Q&A, shots at the end of every episode, and much, much more, like Zoom Hangouts. And yeah, there's a ton of fun going on over there. And it's a great way to support Jeff and I. What if I just said Jeff? I'm like, this is only Jeff.
Yeah, you're like, Jeff actually has not given me access to the funds.
Yeah, so this is just, but this is that shout out we promised. Thank you, Addison Ware, AJ Ford, Allison Grace, Ben Chow, Blake Root, Boat, Boy, Brandon Yu, Brock Schultz, Camilla, David Sir, Eden Grant Gow, Harry Remedianakis, Haytham Khan, I Don't Live in Ohio, Iva, Jaden Easton, Jacob Kolnes, Jane V, John Van Hout, Joshua Krzwicki, Judy S, Justin Dickinson, Katie T, Kaylee Patney, Liv Rob, Molly Overbow, Manu Ausen, Martin Deff, Martina Marylee Borslow, Micah Simmons, Monroe Page, Nora Barathova, Parks, Riley Ost, Robert Burke, Sam Farr, Sophia Arieta, Stella Perry, Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, Smitty Werbin, Jagerman Jensen, 10 Billion, The Monopoly Man, The Sixth, Sick, Chic Sixth, Sheep Sick, Sleek Swan, Swam Swiftly Southward, Sick Hicks, Nick, Six Slick, Bricks with Pick, Tom Likes Beans, Stinky, Vegard Strom, Vera S, Wes Kinley, Xavier Fossier, and Youssef A.
Thank you to all the patrons. I want to say that Vegard Strom got real unlucky with Stinky going right before.
We all know Vegard Strom is not stinky at all. Vegard Strom is
Vegard
squeaky
Strom
clean.
is in Norway, and we know Norwegians are squeaky clean.
All right. Yeah.
They bathe in the fjords.
They do. Cool. I think that does it. Jeff, do you have anything else to say?
You know what? I've really enjoyed talking to you this week, Karsten. Let's do it again next week.
Let's do. That's a great idea. Yeah.
Catch you on the flip side.
Catch you on the flip side.